Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Scott Wingerter Show. I'm your host, Scott Wingerter. Today, we're going to talk about the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore, Maryland. So for all of you who haven't seen the video, this is what happened last night at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. This ship was coming right out of the port of Baltimore, and it has to pass underneath this bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And you can see here it's struggling. As it's going to make the turn to go under the bridge, we lose power right there, right? And so they're struggling to get that ship back under control. They get some of the lights and stuff back on right there. They recover. They're trying to course correct. You can start seeing that there's a problem. There's like this black billowing smoke that's coming out the back. And then bam, the power is lost again. And at this point, it's too late. They got power back. They're trying to recover, but they're going to hit that bridge. And you can see the traffic going across the bridge there as the ship is, bam, it hits right there and the bridge collapses. We are not sure how many people have been killed in this accident. As you can see there, it's still just blocking the Patapsco River right there. Anybody that was on that bridge that wasn't pulled out pretty much immediately, I suspect they probably have died at this point, unfortunately. The water is really cold. Remember, it's March up in the north, Baltimore, the water would have been about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So anybody that's going to be stuck in water for, at this point, going on well past 12 hours now, it's not looking good. So we are awaiting to hear from the authorities how many people have been killed in this tragedy. Those numbers are not yet reported. We don't know, but I want to point your attention here to the map, and so that you can have a better understanding of how this is going to impact Baltimore in its local economy, as well as this is going to have a pretty significant impact on our national economy as well, I fear, because as you go through here, you'll see that this bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which, goes right past Fort McHenry, which is why it's named after Francis Scott Key, the guy who wrote the Star Spangled Banner. He was from Baltimore. He was a lawyer. He ended up going out on the ships when the British were bombarding Fort McHenry in the War of 1812. He ended up writing the Star Spangled Banner as a result of all that. Anyway, it's a major highway here called 695. In Baltimore, we call it the Beltway. I lived in Baltimore for 8 years. All right. So this is, for my Houston people out there, this would be no different than, a major bridge collapse on something like Beltway 8. It's going to have a significant impact on the local economy, because if you're on the south side of the river and you wanted to go a couple exit up, on 695 into like Edgemere or Dundalk, on the north side of the river, you can't now, not without having to go actually into town, into the actual city, which is going to add a whole bunch of time to your commute and everything like that. And now all of this traffic is going to be rerouted. It's not going to be as, easily flowing, which means that this is going to impact their local economy. Think about fuel trucks, think about grocery stores, think about the products that you need every single day for a city the size of Baltimore. It's going to have an impact on their local economy. But specifically, I think it's going to have national impact as well on our national economy, because when we see here, when we bring up sort of the stats on Baltimore port, the Baltimore port is the 9th largest port in the United States of America. And I mean, it moves around 50 million tons of international bilateral trade every year. It's closed right now. You can't get a ship into Baltimore because that bridge is spanning across the Patapsco River right there, which is the key to getting into the harbor of Baltimore. And until they get that bridge cleaned up and that boat towed out, obviously it has some sort of problem. So they're going to have to pull that back to the port, I'd imagine. We might be talking weeks, maybe months before they can get that port of entry back up and functioning, which is going to have an impact on our trade, the amount of goods we can bring in and out. Specifically, if you live on the East Coast, I'd imagine that you're going to see sort of a spike again in supply issues. Not all that different from when we couldn't get the ships into the port of LA for a while there, that they were all backed up into the Pacific Ocean, or a few years ago when that ship got stuck in the Suez Canal, right? So these types of things, when we're talking about international shipping, they do have a wide-reaching impact when you stop the flow of our trade and our importation of goods, our export. It's going to have an effect on the GDP for sure. So, we pray here that at the Scott Wingerter Show for any of the victims, their families. This is just a tough situation. It was almost a perfect storm, right? That ship lost power at the precise moment that it needed to hit that support structure and bring that bridge down. Had anything else, I think, happened differently or at a different time, they might have been able to not hit the bridge. But I mean, I don't think this is anybody's fault. Obviously, we'll see as the investigation comes out what actually occurred on that ship. But it doesn't look like those sailors could have done anything to really prevent this. It was just, I don't know, fate. I don't know. How do you look at a situation like this? And, I don't know that anyone specifically is to blame for this. It's just a tragedy. And so our hearts and our prayers and thoughts go out to the people of Baltimore today as they deal with this. And we'll keep you posted on this. Thanks. Have a good day.
That'll work.
Cool.